Everyone, we are here with filmmaker, director Mercedes Bryce Morgan. She has a film coming out very soon called Spoonful of Sugar. It's going to be streaming exclusively on Shudder March 2nd. Mercedes, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. It's so wonderful to be here, and I'm really excited for everyone to see it soon.
Thanks for taking the time. Okay, so can you tell us about the film?
Yeah, so Spoonful of Sugar, basically, I think the easiest way to describe it for horror film lovers is what if Lolita were Michael Myers' babysitter? And so we kind of took that concept and just let it go from there. And the whole time, you're just kind of left wondering who's the most fucked up person in this house.
Like, no question. I kept going, like, okay, who's the villain here? And then it was like, wait a minute, there's more villains outside. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, exactly.
It was really a crazy movie. So how did you end up reading the script, and what were your initial reactions? What made you be like, yes, I want to do this?
Yeah, definitely. So I was sent the script by two different people in the same day, and
So
they
that's
said,
like a
"Hey,"
sign.
yeah, it's a sign, and they're like, hey, this writer Leah Welch wrote this script, and it's really fucked up and disturbing. Like, we really think you would love it. And so I was like, okay, we'll see. And then I started reading it and I couldn't put it down. And I called the producer, Katrina Cudlick, and I was like, Katrina, like, you have to read this. It's really weird. And so she basically, like, she never does this. She like pushed her meetings so that she could finish the script because she loved it so much.
Oh my God.
You hear all these stories of people being like, oh, I'll read a script, and then they take months to read it.
Yeah.
And so basically it was interesting because when we were first shopping around, some people, like, the best backhanded compliment we got from this potential financier was, I read that and it made me so uncomfortable, and I just had to go home and like hug my wife and kids. And and because of that, it's not for me. And we're like, that's why it's for us. That's what we love about it. And so then we found Vanishing Angle, and then found Shudder as a home. And it's just really people who are looking for the same things that we are.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this movie. And the story really, like you were saying, dives into some uncomfortable situations, and ideas. One of them to me was overparenting.
Yeah.
Can you expand on, like, maybe how you leaned into that and why you wanted to explore that?
Definitely. I mean, I think that being a parent is the hardest job in the world. And it makes it even harder when you don't know who your kid is going to end up being, and who are you as a person, and how does that work into it. And so it really explores that through this couple, and what happens when someone else tries to come in and replace you as the mother. And what if they think they're doing a better job than you, and how does that make you feel, and where do you go from there with that?
But it's interesting too that you even go into caring for somebody with special needs. And how do you do that?
Yeah, that's things I
Yeah.
don't have the answer. It's really, really hard, and it's impossibly hard. And it's like how you stick together as a family through that. And I think that's something else too that, like, I really wanted to see is, I feel like we have all these, the classic Disney theme is family is great. And sometimes family is great, but also family can be fucked up. And so, like, that's the kind of movies I love, is exploring other alternative themes within family.
Yeah, you definitely go to the darker corners of family, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So how did you find your Millicent?
Yeah. So Morgan Saylor is someone that I've loved as an actress for a very long time. And you really wanted to find someone who was just down for the role, and Morgan was down. And it just, like, her having this uncomfortability, because, like, as you watch the movie, you'll realize that she's pretty much high all the time. And so it's just like having someone play that, and, like, when we feel uncomfortable with that or not, is important to us, of just that feeling of offness.
Right. And how did she end up being a part of it? Like,
Yeah.
how was the audition process?
Definitely. Yeah. So Vanishing Angle actually worked with her on another project. And so when this came around, they're like, hey, Morgan, like, we have something that we think you would really enjoy. And so it's kind of nice because, like, the production company is very familial And that's what you need to make a smaller movie like this.
So she read the script, was totally like, yep, she was the perfect fit for the lead.
Yeah, we actually had finals at NYU at the same time, and so we were like, hey Morgan, can you please like leave your finals and like come make this movie with us? And so on set, like she would be writing essays in between takes and then being like, okay, great, let's do like the sex scene in the backyard, like here we go. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of a good study break. I don't know. So also too, you got a really good kid to play Johnny.
Yeah.
How'd you end up with him?
Yeah, so I mean, like that's the thing about kids is they're just themselves a lot, and either you can tell they're acting with a capital A and putting on something or not. And so one of the things we did in the audition process is we had the kids were like, okay, you have to throw a tantrum now, like you have to throw a fit. And the instant that most of these kids threw the fit was like, nope, this does not work, because they're just like putting on the idea of what they're too shy to scream or what do they think that sounds like. And it's funny because Danilo is the most respectful, calm, like he is one of the most professional actors I've ever worked with. I'm not even just saying that, hands down. He just shows up and he's very kind and respectful to everyone, and he's a great scene partner. And then he's just able to do things like this. And so I just saw Danilo and I'm like, yes, this is like,
He's able to drop acid and oh wait, spoiler, sorry.
But actually, like, funny story. So the way that we made it ethical for us to shoot this movie with this kid is basically his parents chose what scenes to explain to him at each point. And so they were like, okay, here's what you need to know. Like this, Danilo did not read the script for this movie. That would not be okay for him to read the script of this movie. And so they just gave him the necessary information. And there's one part of the movie, I won't spoil it, but he sees something really, really intense. And instead of shooting him actually watching what's happening, we shot him separately and like VFX'd him in the window. Because I don't want to be the one to actually subject kids to things you're not ready for yet.
We're trying to disturb grown-ups. We're not trying to scar children.
Exactly.
So when was the film shot? And how long did it take? And
totally. Yeah. So I actually I had this movie greenlit with my other movie, Fixation, the same day. And so it was really crazy because this was actually supposed to be my first movie and that was supposed to be my second movie. And I got a call and everyone was like, Mercedes, let's go. And then there was COVID, as everyone knows. And so this one ended up being second. And so we shot this like almost, I think it's like basically a year ago now. But what's crazy is I prepped it during COVID. And so, like I spent a month alone mulling with my thoughts on this. And then when they were ready to go, I went, bam, here's my Google Drive. And so we shot it for about a month. And here we are now.
That's it's say what you will about the pandemic, but it definitely gave us a minute.
Yeah, which is nice. I love a creative minute. That's fine with me. Scroll the other things, but that part was nice.
There was tons of writing going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did Shudder end up grabbing the movie?
Yeah, so the way that Shudder ended up getting the movie is Shudder has a very close relationship with Vanishing Angle, and they like the taste of movies they do because Vanishing Angle is very festival darlings. And so we had the script and everything ready to go. And so then Shudder came in and said, yes, this is movie for us. And I really appreciate that with creative collaborators, because when people come on, it's kind of like dating, where people come in and try to change each other too much from who they are originally. It doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work. And so Shudder is like, we like you for who you are. I was like, oh, thank you. I like you for who you are. This is a great match. And so that's kind of how they came on.
There you go. Now that just makes me happy. So, what were some of the influences, like horror influences for Spoonful for you?
I'm actually I'm a big fan of even before horror influences, but I'm a really big fan of European dramas because with this movie, it's not about anything supernatural. It's about people doing messed up things. And so those are big inspirations for me. But even with that, it's like, we need to talk about Kevin. That's not classically a horror movie, but that's obviously an influence here. And so that because it's, even though it's a horror film, it's drama first. But as for like actual horror, I'm rarely into like older, like 70s horror. So movies like Carrie is something where it's a coming of age story and it's what she's actually going through with these people, or things like that are always
That's like the good for her subgenre, you know.
exactly. Yeah. It's like you go.
She did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there it also felt very, I don't know, there were moments of Suspiria, Don't Look Now,
Totally.
that
Yeah.
I was like picking up on, like when, she's smelling the book and things
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, things just
Exactly.
go really nutty.
Yeah.
So so what's next for you after
Yeah.
Spoonful of Sugar?
So I'm actually shooting another horror movie right now. Yes, I love horror movies. And that's also, it's like when you ask me like, what are the horror movie references? I'm like, I watch a horror movie every day. I'm like, I have
never
so many
seen a horror
references
movie.
ingrained in me. But yeah, so I'm shooting another horror movie. And this one's called Bone Lake, and we're about to go shoot it in a month. And so I can't say anything about that right now. But it's also people doing fucked up things, which like, I enjoy a lot. So
And this is our wheelhouse.
yes.
So is there anybody that you'd really love to work with that you're aiming for?
People that I'd really love to work with. There's such a long list of people that
I mean, aside from Mia Goth. So
oh yeah, I mean Mia Goth is like absolute queen, like ever.
like,
I feel like everyone in our community is just like bow down to Mia Goth. So,
seriously, did
yeah.
you see Infinity Pool? My
Oh
God.
yeah. No, she's like absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like I have a list of 50 people. It's whoever's right for the role at the time. Like I don't want to say that someone's right and then it should be this person. So
And then be like, ooh.
yeah,
Well, excellent. Listen, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about Spoonful of Sugar. Very twisted, very fun. And I appreciated the work, the effort, and did a good job.
Yeah.
So everybody please check out Spoonful of Sugar when it comes out on Shudder, streaming March 2nd. And Mercedes, it was an absolute pleasure. Come back when Bone Lake is finished and we can talk about that one too. Or maybe the title's going to change. I don't know.
Yeah. The next one.
We never know. But anyway, best of luck on this release and we look forward to talking to you again.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.